Okay, today we're going to do factorizing quadratic expressions, but by grouping in pairs. Okay, a quadratic expression is ax squared plus bx plus c. As you can see, the power is 2. That's quadratic. And we also call trinomials because it's got 3 terms. Okay, and there's 2 types of quadratic expression. One is a monoquadratic trinomials, which is a coefficient of x squared equals 1. Coefficient is the constant number in front of x squared. So that's a coefficient of x squared is a, coefficient of x is b, and that's constant. Okay. Now non-monoquadratic trinomials is coefficient of x squared is not 1. Okay. So let's start example. Now, as you can see, this example is a monic, isn't it? Monic quadratic trinomials. So it's got 3 terms, and the coefficient is 1. All right. So x squared plus 6x plus 8. Now, this is what 2 factors will be plussing it, and that's the product, the times. So let's have a look at the factors of 8. Factors of 8, the 2 numbers that will times together will make 8. First comes into my mind will be 1 times 8. Okay, and then second one will be 2 times 4. Now, to make 6, 2 and 4 looks good. So I'm going to pick these 2, and I'm going to think about this. When I add this together, will I get 6? Do I times it together, will I get plus 8? Yes, I do. So I'm going to put this plus here and plus here, and I'm going to pick these 2 factors, okay, for this. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to make these 2 as, separate this into 2x plus 4x. So that's what we're going to do as a factorizing by grouping. So I'm going to rewrite this. It'll be x squared plus 2x plus 4x plus 8. Okay, and I'm going to group this and this together. So let's see. What's the common factor in here? It'll be x. So I'm going to write x in the front, brackets x plus 2. Okay, and what about here? What's the common factor here? It'll be 4, wouldn't it? So if I take 4 out, I'll get x plus 2. Now, what is the common factor here, as you can see? This, yeah? So I'm going to take those out, x plus 2, and put the remainder, this and this one, and here x plus 4. So these are my factorization of quadratic expression. Okay, and this is a monic. All right, let's have a look at the second one. Also, this is a monic quadratic trinomial. So only difference between the first and the second one is the sign is different. The first one had all plus, this one is negative. Let's have a look. Still the same. What is the factors of 6? You can see 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Now we have to be a bit careful because it's got minus 6. So still the middle term is the sum of 2 factors, and this one is product of 2 factors. Okay, so which factors, a set of factors, will give me, when you add together, I'll get minus 5. When I times together, I'll get minus 6. So let's have a look. I'm going to make it into this one. I'm going to have a look at this one. Now, because the middle, the sum is negative, I'm going to put the bigger number as a negative and the smaller positive. So when I add this together, I will get negative 5. Now let's check. When I add this together, I'll get minus 5. When I times this together, I will get minus 6. So this one looks great. But let's have a look at this one. If I make minus here and minus here, so when I add this together, I will get minus 5. That's not a problem. But when I times this together, minus 2 times minus 3, I will get positive 6, which doesn't agree with this. Okay, so this is not the pair that I'm looking for. So I've got these two, 1 and minus 6 I'm going to pick. And also I'm going to make this one with these two vectors. So there will be x minus 6x will also give me minus 5x. So I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to push this one up a little. So equals x squared plus x minus 6x minus 6. Okay, and I'm going to factorize in a group. So what's my common factor here? X. So I'm going to take x out. I've got plus 1. And I'm going to here, be careful, this one, common factor I can see is minus 6. So I'm going to take minus 6 out, and I'll take that out, I'll get x. Now, when this take all the minus out, you're left with a plus 1. So you need to be careful about this part, okay? If I take minus 6 out, I've got x left. Now, what happens this is you can write this one like minus plus 6, something like that. That means if I take minus out, I've got plus inside because that is same as minus 6. And let's tie this one up. I still got the factorizers have to do my common factor here. It will be x plus 1, and I'm going to put this together into factor form. It will be x minus 6, and that's my factors. Okay, now next question I'm going to do is non-monic quadratic. So let's have a look at the non-monic quadratic. Push it down a bit. So number 3, I'm going to do, okay, so what happens here, as you can see, coefficient of x squared is not 1 anymore, it's a 3. So it's called non-monic quadratic trinomials. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we need to time this together. Okay, 4 and 3. So what's that? 12. Now I need to find the factors of 12 that it's going to plus them to make it into 8. So first one, I'll go 1 and 12, 2 and 6. I can see already 2 and 6 will make 8. 1 and 12 doesn't do anything to make 8. So I'm going to pick this, but make sure it's a plus 8. So I'm going to put plus 2, plus 6. They're definitely going to make 8. Now we're not going to worry about products here because coefficient is 1 anymore. It's not 1 anymore, so we can't really use product of two factors. So don't worry about products of two factors. Only worry about the sum of the two factors. So I'm going to rewrite this. So 3x squared stays the same, but 8x split it into 2 plus 2x plus 6x, which is still 8x, yeah, plus 4. Again, I'm going to factorize in a group. So what's a common factor here? It's x, isn't it? I'll take the x out, I'll left with 3x plus 2. Okay, and here what's common factor? 2. So I'm going to take 2 out, and I'll left it with 3x plus 2. And again, I've got 3x plus 2 is my common factor. So I'm going to put this into 3x plus 2, and remember to put all there in another bracket. So that is my factors. Okay, now let's have a look at another one. This one looks a little bit different, but it's still quadratic. It's quadratic, non-monic quadratic trinomials. Now we need to put it into in order of the power. So I'm going to put minus 12y squared minus 7y plus 10. And I don't like this negative in front of the power of y squared. So I'm going to take all the negative out and then rewrite the expression. Make sure that sign changes. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to factorize this. So it's still same. So I'm going to times this together. So I'll get minus 120, yeah? And then I need to find some factors that makes 120, okay? Now, let's think about this. 1 and 120 is not going to make 7, so I'm not going to worry too much. And 2 and 60, it's not going to give me 7, is it? 3 and 40 will be 120, but it's not going to give me 7. And 4 and 30 is not going to give me. And even 5, 120 divided by 5 will be 24. And this 2 is not going to give me 7. So let's continue with the 6. 6 and 20, no. Even I have to take it away, it's going to be 14. It's not going to give me 7. Let's go with... There's nothing with a 7. So 8 times 15 will give me 120. And also, look, 15 take away 8 will give me 7. So we have something that it's a possible factors that's going to give us the sum of 7. Let's have a look. So this is a plus. The sum is a plus. But we have to have negative there, because if I add this all together, I'm not going to get 7. So the bigger number always matches up with the sign. And I'm going to take that one as negative. So when I add this together, I will have 7y. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to use a different color. Minus, still the same. 12y squared, still the same. Now I'm going to put minus 8y plus 15y minus 10. Okay, I'm going to push this one up. And again, I'm going to grouping here. So minus still same. And I'm going to make it actually, I should make it this square brackets. And then that's a circle one. So what's a common factor of 12y squared minus 8y? I could do 4y. Actually, I'm going to make it a little bit, so go 4y, taking 4y out. If I take 4y out, I'll left with 3y inside minus 2. Okay, and then plus 15y minus 10. What's a common factor? 5. And if I take 5 out, it'll be 3y minus 2. Excellent. So what that means, I have common factor still happening there. So it equals minus, this time I'm going to write 3y minus 2. And I'm going to put all the other leftover ones, 5y plus 4y plus 5. Okay, so that's your answer. So be very careful about when you do non-monic quadratic trinomials. So you only have to worry about the sum of the roots, okay, not the product. And then think about which combination will give me the sum of the two products, which is the middle part. And when it's got negative, you take the negative out. Make sure your quadratic, the degrees y equals square or x squared squared, will have a positive. It's just easier to factorize.